What makes the good life the good life? This podcast is on a mission to find out. So join us as we explore the Heartland's best and most honest voices. Venture to all four corners of York County, because when it comes to quality of life, it's all about keeping it local. Brought to you by the York County Development Corporation. This is 17 County.
Hello, and thank you for joining us today. Be sure to like, subscribe, and review our podcast. Doing this helps us grow our podcast, so we appreciate the help from our listeners. We would also like to take the time to thank our members. Without these great members, we wouldn't be able to do what we do here at the YCDC. We'd like to thank Cornerstone Bank, Henderson State Bank, York General, Green Realty and Auction, Midwest Bank, and COPSA Odie. Members can be seen on the member directory page at yorkdevco.com. That's York, DEVco.com. Let's get to the interview. Joining us today is Taylor Samek. Taylor works at the York County Sheriff's Office and takes on a multitude of different responsibilities and roles within the organization. Him and his wife, Lacey, have lived within York County for about 3 years now with their dog Justice, which also serves in the Sheriff's Office. So thank you, Taylor, for joining us today.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're going to start with a segment called This or That. First things that comes to your mind. So, camping or hotel?
Oh, hotel for sure.
All the way. Have to have your running water. Yeah, I can understand. Dawn or dusk?
Dusk. So well, I work night shifts, so I don't. When it's dawn, it's usually time to go to bed. So
kind of goes hand in hand. Yeah. Sweet or sour?
I'd say probably sweet.
Sweet. I have to agree. I am a chocolate fanatic, so can't go wrong with it.
Absolutely.
Lake or pool?
Oh, neither, because I can't swim. So generally I would say probably pool, just because there's a lifeguard on there. But
safety's good.
Yeah.
Safety's important. M&Ms or Skittles?
Oh, Skittles.
That was fast.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, Skittles for sure.
Very strong feelings there. Okay, so we're just going to jump right into the interview part. So tell me a little bit about growing up. You're from the Lincoln area, right?
Yeah, from Lincoln originally. Went to high school at Lincoln High. Really enjoyed my time there. Was involved in a bunch of different sports. Baseball was my favorite. So played baseball in high school. Played tennis in high school. Then went on to play baseball in college for Hastings for a couple of years at Hastings College. Graduated there and then just got into the law enforcement field. But yeah, all my family is still in Lincoln. My wife and I still are always in the Lincoln area for something, it seems like. So yeah, that's home for me. But now we've kind of made York County home, so it's been nice.
Yeah, and we're happy to have you here.
Yeah.
So what did your parents do while you were growing up?
So I have a split family. So my parents got divorced when I was younger. They both remarried, so I have siblings on each side. But as far as occupation, it's kind of weird. I'm the oddball. So for some reason, law enforcement stuck out to me, but both my parents and step-parents are involved in some type of computer programming, banking software. My stepmom is she sells different fixtures, does help with remodels. So not really sure the law enforcement came in, but yeah, all my family generally sits behind a desk. So that's a little bit about my parents.
Okay. So law enforcement, how did you come to, grow your passion for that? What made you decide to go into that?
Yeah, I would say it probably started when I was very young. Our next door neighbors were a married couple who were both Lincoln police officers. So I think that's where I first got exposed to it. Then growing up, I played football, and I was on a youth football team who was the Lincoln police team.
Okay.
So my coaches were Lincoln police officers, and then got some really good role models and mentors growing up who were in law enforcement, and that's just something that always kind of stuck out to me. So I never envisioned myself being behind a desk. Always, I guess the draw to law enforcement was every day something different, which it definitely is.
Yeah, so. Absolutely. So did you kind of know that this is what you wanted to do from a pretty young age?
Yeah, I would say ever since I can remember, being in law enforcement was something that I wanted to do. I don't ever remember myself being interested in really any other career field. That was always just kind of something that interested me and something that I wanted to do. So
Kind of always the end goal.
yeah.
That's neat. I mean, I think it's really good to know what you want to do at such a young age because then you can like work towards it, you know.
Yeah. It's just kind of interesting because all my siblings are the exact opposite. A lot of them going into college, I can't relate because they're still trying to figure out what they want to do, what they're interested in. I have two that are seniors this year, a brother and sister, and still trying to figure out what they want to do. But like I said, it's just hard for me to relate because I just always knew what I wanted to do.
I think that's kind of rare. I mean, not a lot of people know when they're young what they want to do. Usually it's kind of a long road to get there.
Yeah, absolutely.
So you and your wife have kind of a unique meeting story, I guess. You want to say a little bit about that?
Yeah, absolutely. So my first job out of law enforcement was with the Merritt County Sheriff's Office in Central City. So for those people who don't know where that's at, that's Central City. So you're right in between Grand Island and Columbus. So that whole county kind of runs that area. But the unique thing about that county, it's very wide. And so one of our bordering counties was Howard County, which would be St. Paul, Nebraska, would be the county seat. So one night I got sent to a injury accident on the Howard Merritt County line. They weren't sure what side of the road the car landed on, and so they sent me with the Merritt County Sheriff's Office, and then my wife at the time was a deputy with the Howard County Sheriff's Office, so they sent her. So on the scene of the accident is where I first met her. So, and that was in June of 2016, I want to say was the year. So we met on the accident, and then she needed my phone number for work purposes
Oh,
afterwards. So, and then we went on our first date after that, and have been together ever since.
and then the
So,
rest is history.
yeah, absolutely.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So, you worked in Merrick and now you're in York County
Yeah.
and you have a lot of different roles. I mean, you do a lot. So, can you kind of break down all the specifics of your job?
Yeah. So obviously, first and foremost, I just was promoted in June to corporal, is the rank that I hold. So basically what that means is I supervise one of our night shifts. So, basically when people go to sleep from 6 p.m. to 6 a.m., I'm in charge of the county on the one side of the week. So I supervise the entire sheriff's office. So, that's a fairly new role for me. But I still go to 911 calls, do all that kind of stuff. In conjunction with that duty, I do a lot of other different things. I'm a canine handler. I've been a canine handler for it'll be going on 5 years now. I was a canine handler in Merritt County for 2 years, and then I've had my dog Justice in York for about 3 years now. And then also in conjunction with that, I'm a drug recognition expert, is what it's called. So there's only about 100 law enforcement officers in the state of Nebraska who hold that title. And basically, what that means is if an officer or deputy believes that someone is impaired by something other than alcohol or something in combination with alcohol, they call me in. I run these people through a battery of tests, and I'm able to render an opinion. That's something that I really enjoy doing is looking for drugs and drug impaired drivers. So those are two of my roles as far as on nights. Also involved in training with the sheriff's office in different capacities. So I'm a field training officer. So when we get new deputies that get hired, a lot of law enforcement training initially is in a classroom setting. So my job is to make sure that those lessons in the classroom translate to real life application on the road. So we don't just throw somebody out on the street and say, "Hey, be a cop." We teach them how to do it. So that's one of my roles. And then lastly, I'm our training coordinator. So I coordinate all the training with the department, whether that's implementing it or recording it, making sure that all of our people get all the required training. So Nebraska in the past couple of years have passed some new laws that require law enforcement. There's different rules and regulations now for law enforcement training, so we just have to make sure that we abide by all of those. So do a lot of different things, but I like staying busy, so that's just part of my personality. So
Yeah, I was gonna say, when do you have time to sleep?
yeah.
He's super busy. From past experience, you have had some pretty cool recognition. So, do you want to talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, absolutely. So I've been fortunate enough in the last year to be recognized by a lot of different organizations for the work that I've done and the work that I do in York County. Here last year, I was recognized by Mothers Against Drunk Driving for being an outstanding law enforcement officer when it comes to adult DUI enforcement, which is something I'm pretty passionate about. So that was really cool. I've been recognized by the National Interdiction Network for recovering a missing juvenile on a traffic stop that I did last year as well. And then I've been fortunate enough that God put me in the right place at the right time. I was able to administer Narcan on a Seward County deputy and then a suicidal female in a different case and bring them back. So,
Oh, wow.
yeah, it's been those have been some of the uh, awards and recognitions that I've won, I guess. So,
Well, yeah, I think that a lot of what police officers and sheriffs do get unrecognized. I mean, there's so much that goes into your job that nobody even really knows about.
yeah,
So I'm glad that you did get some recognition because it sounds like it was much deserved.
yeah, it's just something, we have law enforcement officers that work here in York and York County that do stuff like that every single day. I was just fortunate enough to get recognized, but yeah, I think if people really knew what we did, I think they'd be really surprised that those incidents, that isn't anything really unique. That happens every day around here. So.
Well,
My name's Don Freeman II. I'm President and CEO of Agri Products in York, Nebraska. We are a manufacturer of quality equipment, grain handling, food storage, food service. And if you ever want to get a hold of us, you can get on our website or you can contact us at 402-362-5500. Thank you.
so kind of taking a step back, let's say somebody came up to you and was interested in getting into the field. What would you tell them? I mean, even just a normal day in the life, what are some tips that you would tell them if they were interested?
Yeah, so we get a lot of interns, high school students that are interested, college students that are interested. And the one thing that I tell them is, what we look for in law enforcement anymore is just a well-rounded person. So we can teach anybody to be a law enforcement officer, but we like people who have diverse backgrounds, who think outside the box, who, have a degree maybe in something that's not criminal justice related, because that just brings a new perspective to the table and you're able to relate to people differently that way. So, I would say for those that are interested in the field, the biggest thing to do is come out on a ride along because riding around with us for a couple hours, you're going to know pretty quick whether it's something that you want to be involved in or not. And then second, I would say, we're not looking, everyone thinks law enforcement, they think, oh, I can't break the law. I can't do anything wrong. We're not looking for perfect people. We're just looking for honest people. And that's the biggest thing is just honesty. So if you've made mistakes in the past, just be honest about it with us. I mean, none of us are perfect. And that's something that that's a misconception out there is that we're just looking for somebody who never has broken the law before. That's not true. There are certain things that we have to look for, but so yeah, I would say the biggest thing is just, get a degree if you can. It's not required, but it really does help. There's a lot of writing in law enforcement, so that's huge. Um, and then just make sure that it's something that you're interested in. Like I said, the ride along is huge. I've had high school, college students, even adults ride along, and within the first couple hours, they know whether or not it's something they plan to do. So
Right.
just being exposed to it, I think, is probably the best thing. So,
Okay. Yeah, yeah. Um, so it sounds like you guys handle a lot of different, not fun situations. I
yeah.
mean, not ideal scenarios. What keeps you moving? What keeps you passionate about your job, and what kind of feeds you?
I would say definitely that's a couple different answers there. I would say the people that I work with, those relationships are huge. Whether I'm having a good day or a bad day, or they're having a good day or a bad day, I know that they're there for me and that they're there to help me. So I think that's something we've done a really good job at the sheriff's office is we have a lot of really good quality people that work for us, and they're not only good law enforcement officers, but they're just good people in general. So I know if I need something, I can call any of them and they'll drop what they're doing to come help me. So I think that's huge. Is having good people around you. Hobbies outside of work are also good too, just to kind of, decompress from whatever happened at work. My wife and I are big Christian music fans, so we go to a lot of concerts. If anybody's around close that we like, we love to go. That's huge for us. And then honestly, just having a relationship, with God. I mean, and just, taking everything that I see and experience to Him and knowing that He's always there for me is huge. So I would say those three things are probably the biggest for law enforcement officers to have those three things.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And just knowing work isn't your life. You
Yeah,
know what I mean? There's more
absolutely.
to it.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. So tell me a little bit about, I guess, York as a whole. What do you guys like to do in the community, you and your wife? What draws you to York?
Yeah, so my York County story is a little bit different. I was initially recruited here by someone who works at the sheriff's office, Corey Goplin. We went to the police academy together, and he sat in the same row as me. So I came here when I worked in Merrick for a prisoner transport to drop off a prisoner, pick one up. Saw Corey, didn't know I was going to, and he's like, "Hey, we have an opening. I think you should really look at coming here." And York County has always had a really good reputation in the law enforcement community as being a really proactive agency. So I thought that might be a good fit. So got the job here, and I think the first thing that was just really apparent to my wife and I in York County is that people here are really supportive of law enforcement. So I don't think a week has gone by where someone hasn't thanked me for my service, or I go to pay my bill at the restaurant and it's already paid for. And I'm not advocating for you to buy my meal every
Right.
night, but it's those things that it's just nice to see, and that doesn't always happen everywhere. The community support here for law enforcement is just huge, and so I think that's really what is nice, especially in this climate, in this day and age, is just to see that the community supports us. So that's huge. When I'm not at work, what I really like about the county is just all the different things that there are to do. And my wife and I are huge restaurant people. We like going out to eat. We like having Chances Are, La Casina, Hunter's Lounge, Carrie's. We have some really good food in York County, which is nice. And then yeah, just the people here are just really genuine, and that's what's awesome for me too, is just to interact with the different people in the community. And we have some really good folks that work and live here, which is nice. And then the amenities are super nice. My wife and I still play tennis when we get the chance. We have awesome parks and rec facilities here, so there's just a lot to do, and I think that's the huge appeal too. Is just York is a really great community, and York County as a general.
Yeah, yeah, I know there's been a lot of people that say, York, of course, the people make the town, and that is a huge part of it, but also you don't have to drive an hour to go grocery shopping. You don't have to drive an hour to find clothes. I mean,
Yeah,
we kind of have everything we need here. You're welcome to. Everywhere
yeah,
is close,
yeah.
but you don't have to.
Yeah, absolutely. I couldn't agree with that more. It's just nice, if I need something, Grand Central's, like a 10-minute drive, if that, and really, like, I mean, like you said, if you need anything, it's pretty much within the community somewhere.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're gonna move on. So some rapid fire. First thing that comes into your mind, don't think about it, just whatever comes to mind. Favorite part of your job?
Ooh, it's gonna sound cliche, but helping people. I mean, when you genuinely have helped somebody and they appreciate it, and they know that you have taken them seriously, there's not a greater feeling in the world.
Makes sense.
Yeah,
It's a cliche.
yeah.
It's a good answer. Favorite local event?
Ooh, favorite local event. I'm a huge fan of fireworks, so all the fireworks activities during the Fourth of July around here, that's a lot of fun.
Yeah, the chamber puts on some amazing events, and Firework Frenzy is
Yeah,
probably one of the best. I
yeah.
agree. Favorite food in the area?
Ooh, I would say prime rib at Hunter's Lounge.
At Hunter's, I
Yeah,
they're prime.
yeah, it is super good. I have yet to have a bad one. So, and it's always packed Friday, Saturday nights, Hunter's Lounge. That's the place where you'll find me anyway. So,
Okay, it's good to know. Always looking for something different.
yeah.
You kind of touched on this already, but favorite music genre?
Christian music. So my wife and I, huge Christian music fans. Casting Crowns, Zach Williams, Phil Wickham are some of our favorites, but we love live Christian music. So
Okay, okay. So now, once again, moving on, lots of things. This is just kind of a segment to talk about what's going on that's good in our lives, what makes us happy. It can be work related, not work related, whatever.
Yeah, I would say for me, what's going good? I would say, my marriage. I just love my wife. We've been married. We just celebrated to be 5 years married in September. We got married in Stromsburg, had a reception here in New York at the Holtis Center, had the rehearsal dinner at the country club, but we just love my marriage. Things are going great. So I would say that's definitely top on the list. And then, I would just say friendships. I've been really blessed with some good friends, whether that's friends at work, friends of the community, and just having those people in my life have just been really great recently. So, especially with COVID and everything else going on here recently, it's just been nice to have those connections. So, I would say extremely blessed in those ways.
Yeah, congratulations on the 5 years.
Yeah, thanks.
So once again, thank you so much for taking the time to join us. I'm just going to leave some final thoughts to you. If you have any words of advice, words of wisdom for someone who may be looking to locate into York County or just kind of shows a little bit of interest, not sure if they want to make that step.
Yeah, I would say, if moving to this area is something that you're interested in, I mean, really reach out to people who are within your field, within the area, whether it's law enforcement or something else. I mean, if you reach out to people in the area, they're going to give you a real honest opinion about what it's like here. And I would say from my standpoint, being in law enforcement, we have some really good law enforcement officers in this area, and I think York County is an extremely desirable place to work. We're busy, it's fast paced, but then we also have a lot of fun, and it's a great place to raise a family. We have a really good community as a whole, and I just feel like, you don't get that everywhere. So it's just nice, as we talked about earlier, everything that you would need to live is, like I said, within the community in somewhere, in some way. So I would say your county is an extremely desirable place to live just because of that. The people, the things that we have to offer, and like I said, from my standpoint and job, I really enjoy working in law enforcement in this county. So I would definitely advocate for people to move here.
Absolutely. Well, thank you once again for joining us. It was really interesting getting to know a little bit about your story, a little bit about where you work, and I look forward to hearing about more as the years go on.
Awesome. And thanks so much for having me again. I appreciate it.
We would like to once again take the time to thank our members. Without our great members, we wouldn't be able to do what we do here at the YCDC, such as provide this podcast for you. We would like to thank Agri Products, Nebraska Public Power District, Green Realty and Auction, Midwest Bank, and Perennial Public Power District. Members can be seen on the member directory page at yorkdevco.com. Again, that's York, DEV.co.com. We really appreciate all the support that our members are able to give us and can't thank them enough for making what we do possible.
This is 17 County, a new podcast brought to you by the York County Development Corporation in Nebraska. For more information about life and opportunity in the Heartland, visit yorkdevco.com. Come grow with us. And if you liked this episode, be sure to rate and review 17 County on Apple Podcasts or wherever you listen.